I actually encourage everyone who does digital art to do some traditional painting if they can, because there's just something so relaxing about going through the motions.
Welcome to the Pixel Paper Podcast, a series where we get to know the creative processes behind up-and-coming digital artists. My name is Noor, graphic designer and work-in-progress artist, and I'll be your host for this series. Welcome to another episode of the Pixel Paper Podcast. We have our 5th architecture graduate or architecture student on this podcast. It really seems to be a trend. And this artist is from the Philippines. Her name is Mayo Lopez, and she describes herself as a graphic illustrator who, as we talk through the interview, I realize she uses her childhood and her experiences to create the little worlds that she likes to inhabit through her art. So I hope you will enjoy this episode with this really happy-go-lucky illustrator, Mayo.
Hi Mayo, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. So for the benefit of our audience, could you please introduce yourself?
Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Mayo. I go by Mayolo online, and I have a passion for world building illustration, and I also draw a lot of character fan art when my heart yearns for it. I'm somewhat of a graphic designer or graphic illustrator by day, and a painter by night.
Okay. So what's the difference for you?
Between graphic illustrator and painter? Graphic design and illustration is very different in terms of communicating or trying to sell something, trying to communicate to mostly customers and clientele. Well, in the industries I work with, versus painting, which is like I tell a lot of stories, and it's more story driven as compared to trying to explain how product works or things like that.
Yeah, cool. So the reason I followed your art is because you tell really cool stories through your work. As you mentioned, you do a lot of story building. So could you tell us a bit more about your art journey, how you got started, and how you got to where you are now?
First of all, thank you so much for following my art. I really appreciate the support. It's difficult to say when I actually seriously got started, because I have always been drawing ever since I could hold a crayon. I think I only drew whenever I felt like it though. So whenever there was primary school or art workshops needed us to draw, that's when I did. But I began drawing very, very often, almost every day, because of the media I watched and played when I was around 10 to 15 years old, specifically Naruto, Pokemon, and Lord of the Rings. So yeah, never underestimate the influence of media consumption for creators. So I drew a lot because of a lot of those shows and throughout high school. But of course, that passion had to go on hold a lot throughout college because I was really busy. But now I'm happy I'm able to make more art, and I'm able to do so as well for others.
Yeah. Yep. So what age were you drawing? Like, you said 10 to 15, right?
That was when I was drawing a lot, but I'm not sure if I would consider them like good drawings. You know.
Were you drawing digitally then, or when did that start?
Let me see. I was drawing on sketchbooks a lot then, but I got my first tablet when I was around maybe 14, I think, or 13, okay. 13 or 14. Yeah, it was an Intuos.
Yep.
Still remember.
Okay, cool. So you mainly draw a lot of concept art and fantasy inspired work. So I guess like the games you played, and also I notice you do a lot of Lord of the Rings kind of fan art and stuff like that. So is that what inspires you?
Yeah.
And how do you use that inspiration in your work?
Oh, I mainly draw a lot of concept art and fantasy inspired work now because I've actually always gravitated towards fantasy inspired work ever since I was little. And then I love looking at jaw dropping backdrops and fantasy characters. And it's only recently, though, that I decided to take it more seriously and express that love through my art. I mentioned that these cartoons and movies and video games really inspire me to create, but I'm also really inspired by travel pictures of real places and using Google Street View. Do you ever use Map Crunch?
Yes.
Oh, yes. So yeah, it's those kinds of tools. It's amazing how big the world is sometimes.
Yeah.
And how different places can look. So, and I want to express that exact feeling in these places. So that's how I want to use the inspiration.
Is there a specific place you go to, or you just kind of go random?
Oh, you mean in Google Street
like
View?
Google's, or in Map Crunch.
Oh, I just use the random place every single time, and then just keep clicking
until you like what you see.
Yeah.
That's cool. And do you just kind of take the photo or the image that you see kind of at face value, or do you add stuff to it? How's your process?
Sometimes it depends. If I'm doing a really close study, I'd want to make it as accurate as possible. But if I'm feeling a little playful, I guess I'll switch a lot of things up, and then I'll add, magic, a dragon, maybe, I don't know.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. And did you study art, or are you self-taught?
As a kid, I went to those fun summer art workshops, or I would paint with my mom and my tita, which that means aunt. And they also used to do a lot of traditional paintings.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I painted with them, and I also did a still life painting class one summer with my best friend when we were little. That was really fun. But those were all for fun things. For college, I took up architecture, which contrary to what people think and believe, I wouldn't exactly consider an art course. Yeah, it's pretty technical, and presentation technique comes second only to design and a lot of problem solving. So with that said, though, I still learned so much that I could apply to illustration, not only when it comes to perspective and a better understanding of scale in 3D space, but it really also taught me values such as perseverance and building some kind of mental fortitude, because it was a really tough 5 years for me.
I can imagine. Yes.
So yeah, nowadays I do a lot of studying on my own or with my sister for art, but I wouldn't really call myself self-taught when it comes to digital art. because I consider the artists who share tutorials and tips online as my teachers. I'm also considering taking up a few online courses soon to help me improve even more. So, I just caved in with Schoolism summer
Oh,
sale.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and
Who have
then
you bought?
I bought the summer sale the year long thing
Oh, cool,
because I
cool.
was so excited. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so excited to go through some lessons.
Oh, amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Who do you go to for inspiration? Generally, like on YouTube or just online?
Online.
Yeah.
Whenever some of the first people that pop up on me whenever I open YouTube for inspiration is like Tyler Edlin. Oh, I love his videos a lot. I watch them very often nowadays because that's stuff I really want to be able to do.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. I also see for animation there's Ethan Becker.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Um when I'm asked these things, I suddenly get my mind suddenly goes
No, that's
blank.
fine.
But
That's
I
fine.
actually listen to a lot of people. I don't know why my head's suddenly
No
blanking
problem. This
right
happens.
now. But yeah.
Cool. Nice. That's cool that you did architecture and then you kind of went to digital art. I mean I'm the same actually. I studied architecture and then now I'm doing graphic
really?
design. And
So
actually a lot of people that I interviewed have either studied architecture or they're doing architecture.
Oh,
So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, kindred spirit. No wonder you
it's
totally
crazy.
understood the top 5 years.
Exactly. Yeah, no, but that's great. But it's interesting you said that it helped you, architecture helped you, because I was talking with another person, I was interviewing another person, and we were both saying how, I don't know, maybe we're doing architecture wrong, but we didn't find it helped us in our digital art. It should help us, like the perspective and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know, maybe I just wasn't learning correctly.
Oh well, we did kind of had to breeze through that stuff because we focus on something else, right?
Yeah, true. But I wanted to go back to actually your culture. I mean, do you think your culture has an influence on your art? Because you mentioned that you did some art with your mom and your aunt, so I'm quite interested to dive into that.
Oh yes, I'm influenced a lot by the things like stories and the things I see. But with my parents and I mean my mom and my aunt, they generally focused on like traditional, how would I say this? Classical structured art. So it's really it was very rule based. So things like whenever I shaded with a pencil, I wasn't supposed to drag it or shade things as if I was filling them in. With a pencil, the rule was that you only make little tiny strokes, like hatching or something. That's the correct um, method, and it was very classical training, as they would say. Yeah. That was the kind of art I grew up with when it came to painting with them.
So do you think that helped you? Like, I'm sure it would be good to have a foundation.
Oh, I didn't do it formally with them. Like I would just maybe paint along, or sometimes they'll tell me they'll kind of give me comments or stuff every now and then. But I didn't have like formal lessons or anything. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But it really did it helped me, and it was I really do love traditional art and going back to it.
Yeah. And speaking of traditional art, how does that help you digitally in your digital art?
It helps a lot in terms of slowing me down sometimes, and it really helps me focus on making better decisions because I mostly do watercolor, and it's really hard when you make a mistake. It's like, oh no, it's over, it's over. So you know, it really helps me to stop and think about what I'm doing. And I actually encourage everyone who does digital art to do some traditional painting if they can, because there's just something so relaxing about going through the motions and laying down paint and watching it blend and bleed on its own. I go back to it whenever I need a change of pace or whenever I need to relearn patience.
Yeah, no, that's really nice you said that, because just pretty much a couple of weeks ago, I started getting into soft pastel, and it's been so relaxing. Like, it's so nice to have screen-free time, you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. You need that.
Exactly. And what you said about the slow pace stuff, it's just, oh yeah, you just said it perfectly. Pretty much.
Oh, that's really great. For you to go try pastel.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
And it's quite, yeah, I'm loving it. Like, you know, I had these pastels for years, right? And I think I used them a couple of times, but then for some reason I picked them up and then I started drawing with them, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing, because the colors are so vibrant, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then I just started watching more tutorials, and now I've even like subscribed to someone on Patreon, you know, who she does like soft pastel tutorials, and I really liked her vibe. So yeah, like I'm super into it now.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I've never tried soft pastels. I've only tried oil. And I see the artworks are so soft, for lack of a better word.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's true. Funny story, I actually went to the store to pick up oil pastels, and then I accidentally picked up soft pastels, but it turned out for the better. So
yeah, there's such a nice ethereal quality to it.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
so stunning.
Definitely. Yeah. All right, let's get back to you. Enough about me. So I noticed that you don't actually have like a specific color palette. I think you use a lot of blues and greens, but other than that, you normally stick to quite realistic colors. Whereas I've noticed a lot of other artists, especially those that I've interviewed, they you know, have different color palettes, or they kind of, you know, they have a very specific aesthetic when you look at their work. So what role does color play in your work?
Oh man, colors drive me absolutely crazy. I don't have a specific color palette yet, only because I'm still trying to do a lot of studying to see how the places I paint can still seem like a picture you can walk into. Because right now, the role of colors in my work is to help bring a world, a concept in my head to life. So I want you to be able to feel the warmth of the sun and the smell of the sea and things like that. But perhaps in the future, I would work with a more specific palette or be more adventurous with my colors while I'm still exploring how to make it work. But for now, I want to focus on learning how to apply color and lighting more accurately.
Okay, that's fair enough. And I think concept art as well generally tends to stay in a realistic kind of color palette, would you say?
Yeah, because we're trying to make it feel like it's something you want to explore, something you can go into.
Yeah, definitely. And you have a lot of different subject matter as well. So is this just part of your studies, let's say?
It depends. Sometimes I really think, oh, I want to do something like this, and then I'll think of I'll look up references for it, or I'll look specifically for photos or inspiration wherever that could help me bring it to life, or can help me study what I want to what I want to express.
Okay, cool. And also I noticed as well that I scrolled down your feed a lot.
Yeah. Oh no, my messy feed.
No, it's okay. But there's a really big difference between your old art and your current artwork, which, is a lot more background focused and, like you said, concept art. So what made you decide to kind of switch to concept art, or was it an unconscious transition?
It was most definitely a very conscious decision on my
Okay.
part to change focus. I mentioned earlier that I love looking at backdrops and fantasy world. When I was young, when I first started getting a tablet, when I first got a tablet, rather, I tried doing those kinds of concept art for a bit. I tried to draw stuff like backgrounds and elves and stuff like that. And then it was so difficult, and they always looked so cringy. And then it always dipped towards uncanny valley territory. Then I just worked on things I knew I could be decent at instead, because I was like, oh, I can't do this. So despite my love for painterly backgrounds at the time, I didn't do it anymore because I objectively kind of knew the limits of my skills, and which were like more of cute things, and probably focus on my anime fan art and or flats, and I stayed within the limits of my skills, and because um they just didn't, and my skills didn't encompass that kind of art. It made me really sad. But anyway, this year though, I'm not sure what happened exactly. A switch just flipped, and I said, screw it. This is who I want to be. I'm going to put in the time to learn it, and things might not look good at first, like what happened before, but we're going to get somewhere eventually, because I really want it so bad. So if anyone listening to this is looking for a sign to be true to yourself and go for an art style you've always wanted to do, this is it. This is the sign. Go for it.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I think, I really hope it works out for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm kind of happy with the progress so far. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing. You really progressed a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, how long does it take for you to kind of come up with the concept and then come up with the final illustration?
Nowadays, it actually really depends on the concept itself, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I just want to get it down. I don't want to think about it too much. And then other times, so those times it takes like just a few hours, and then sometimes if I want to take it seriously and it really matters to me, I'm gonna give it days and weeks even.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And do you take social media seriously when it comes to your work?
I've always seen social media as a double-edged sword. On one hand, it can be so easy for some people, including me, to get caught up in what people think and how well work is received. I'd be lying if I said I didn't care about that stuff. It really affects how I see my own art. And I do this silly thing nowadays. Okay, knowing how I am and how sensitive I can be, I don't look at numbers anymore. So whenever I have to go over to an account or to my own account or someone else's, I hover my finger over the numbers, and then I scroll down because I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want to know. I'm just I'm gonna look at the art.
Yeah.
So, but on the other hand, social media has been unbelievably helpful to me
Mm-hmm.
in terms of giving me the work I have now and art commissions. I'm also extremely, extremely grateful to the friends I've made uh, and the inspiration fellow artists provide through their amazing work and their tips. It's
Yeah.
incredible how much they do for the community. Um, and the people who are there for us, through thick and thin, they're just so precious. I love them so
Mm-hmm.
much, and I just want to let you all know you have no idea how much your comments and your support uplift and inspire artists. Really.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Everyone's
think
just so inspiring.
exactly, exactly. And I think the idea of it being a double-edged sword, I mean, a lot of people have said the same thing, who I've
Hmm.
interviewed. And it's quite interesting actually because a lot of them, they don't care about social media as much as I thought they would. They kind of just have let
Yeah.
their Instagram, I suppose, naturally grow, which is quite interesting as well.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some
Uh-huh.
people put in so much effort and they don't, into their social media, like trying to get, trying to beat the algorithm, let's say,
Yeah, yeah.
and it just doesn't work. But then other people, I guess, just have a natural, they get
And then
lucky.
they just get woo.
Yep.
They just um are superstars out there.
Yeah, pretty much. You
But
don't post very often, so does
oh,
that kind of give you
me
anxiety?
oh yeah, I sometimes I just I don't know. They say you have to post really really often
Yeah.
in order to put yourself on the map, but at the same time I can't keep up.
Yeah.
I got work, you know,
Yeah.
and I guess I was musing to myself earlier that I guess the secret to using social media for me personally on a personal level
Mm.
while preserving mental health um would be not to attach my art too much to my self-worth
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because this way I could still use social media. I think it's still important to know uh to use it as a means to gauge what is generally appealing and what
Mm-mm.
isn't. But if I need to start looking at these things objectively so that
Mm-hmm.
I could still use it without changing too much of myself for others
Mm-hmm.
and then taking the numbers so personally.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm still working on this so that I could build a healthier relationship with social media.
Yeah, I think we all are, don't worry. Yeah.
Yep.
You used to do a lot of vector illustrations, but now you have a lot more of a painterly style. So what drew you more towards that?
Oh, I still do a lot of vector illustrations. Yeah.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Especially for work.
Oh, okay.
So I just want my personal art account to showcase more of who I am right now.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I decided to show more of that style instead.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about starting a second account for my vector illustrations and graphic illustrations,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I can't keep up with one account. I don't know how I'm gonna keep up too. So
Yeah.
I'll see. I'll see.
No, it's a lot, even keeping up once.
Hmm.
Yeah. And do you get commissions for your art as well?
For
For your art
start
work?
for my artwork. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
most of what I get is for vector art.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
mostly for a lot of work related things.
Mm.
So that I mean graphic design related things or web dev needs and all of that.
Okay. And would
Hmm.
you consider that more professional work? Like, do you have an attachment towards that kind of work?
Um, I like to think that I just want to be able to do anything art related that helps people. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not exactly. I mean, my heart obviously belongs to painterly illustrations,
Mm-hmm.
but if people need vector illustrations, I'm I enjoy it too. So I would gladly make some.
That's cool. That's nice. And what programs do you use to make both your vector and your paintings?
Oh, what programs do I use?
Yeah.
For vector illustrations, I use Adobe Illustrator. And for paint, my other raster based work, there's Procreate, and well, I used to use Autodesk Sketchbook, but nowadays, ever since I got Procreate, I think I don't anymore. Okay, I used to use Photoshop, but I don't have a PC tablet anymore currently.
Okay, cool.
So I mostly work on my iPad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Have you tried heavy paint?
Oh no, I haven't. What is that? I keep hearing about it.
Oh, it's amazing. You should definitely try it. The way I thought about digital art just changed.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
it's really cool.
What is that?
It's basically very limited in the sense of the types of brushes. There's no layers. There's no layer function. It's just a very simple interface, and it's basically like painting traditionally, but on a digital platform. It takes kind of a bit of getting used to, but really once you get used to it, it's really just amazing. I love it so much.
Oh, is that on the iPad?
Yeah, it's on Android and Apple.
Oh, okay. I'm definitely checking that out later.
Yeah, definitely. It's super fun. I think it's allowed me to be a lot more free in my artwork.
Oh, that sounds cool for speed painting.
Yeah, it's really good for speed painting. Definitely.
Okay.
Because I feel like with Procreate, you can get a bit, I get bogged down a lot by all the brushes, and I mean, the user interface is very simple, but there's so many brushes. I'm like, oh gosh, which one do I use? And then,
the library paralyzes.
Exactly. So yeah, I quite liked heavy paint. So if you're listening, or even yourself, Mayo, try it out.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying that out.
So what advice would you give to yourself when you were starting out with all of this? I guess it may not have been too long ago.
Starting out with drawing in general, or
with painting, especially with digital painting.
Oh, well, generally, please don't attach the things you produce to your self-worth. Your art is an extension of yourself and your soul, but they aren't all of you. You are a human being first and an artist second. That's something I want myself to remember. Focus less on the things you can't control and more on what you can do to get where you want to be. And lastly, be patient. There is ample time for growth. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. That's really nice. And the final question, I think, which is nice to end on, is what would you like to say to your future self who is listening to this?
Future self, you're listening to this. And if you've made it this far without cringing at yourself, I hope whatever path you're on, you choose to stay true to yourself and the people you love the most. Just a little reminder, using my favorite quote from a Studio Ghibli movie, The Cat Returns, always believe in yourself. Do this, and no matter where you are, you have nothing to fear. That's all.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's a beautiful way to end as well.
Oh, thank you. It's one of my favorite quotes. Cheesy as it can be sometimes, but I've internalized it.
It's okay. It's always the cheesy stuff that's actually the truest stuff.
Oh, true.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Mayo.
Thank you so much as well, Noor. This has been really fun. So nice to meet you.
I hope you enjoyed that episode with Mayo and you took something useful from it. For me, I really appreciated the tip that she gave, which her mum and her teta actually gave her, which is to not drag the pencil but to use small hatching marks. I've actually used that since this interview and it's been really helpful. As well as that, I also really took to heart the tip that she mentioned to use traditional mediums, especially as digital artists. It's really, really important that we get time away from the screen. And in fact, it can really help us, just relax, unwind, and also perhaps think of new processes and ways that we can come back to our digital art in a more refreshed manner. With that, I will end this episode, and I'll see you next week for another episode of the Pixel Paper Podcast.